I'm Irina Kondrachuk, and this is TSN Online. Give us a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll bring you the day's highlights. 14 people were injured in Okturka, Sumy region. Among them is a family with 3 children. The injured boys are 5 months, 4 and 6 years old. Overnight, the Russians launched a massive drone attack on the city, targeting residential neighborhoods. Preliminary reports indicate that nearly 15 drones were used. An apartment building and 25 private homes were destroyed and set on fire. 4 more residents were injured in the Seredino-Budska and Mykolaievska communities. More than 50 rescuers battled a large-scale fire in southern Odessa region using special equipment and a fire train from Ukrzaliznytsia. After the Shahed drone strikes, a fuel and energy infrastructure facility caught fire in the Izmail district. It is known that 1 person was injured. At dawn, war criminals wounded a man in the Dnipro district of Kherson and a little later shelled Bilozerka with artillery. A local resident was killed. An elderly woman was hospitalized with a blast injury. In the Zolochiv community, in the Kharkiv region, a strike drone attacked a car. An elderly couple was killed. And in Kupiansk, Kharkiv region, a Russian drone hit an ambulance. 2 medics sustained blast injuries. In the Mezhivska community in the Dnipropetrovsk region, the enemy also struck a civilian car with an FPV drone. A 62-year-old man who was inside died at the scene. A resident of Huliapol was injured during an FPV drone attack in the Zaporizhzhia region. Today, the enemy launched more than 400 drones at frontline settlements. In total, the region suffered nearly 600 enemy strikes from all types of weapons. Another war crime by the Russians and more civilian casualties in Donetsk region. The occupiers deliberately struck the market in Kostiantynivka with Smerch rockets. 3 people were killed and 4 more were injured. According to the regional military administration, 8 missiles were launched. About 15 market stalls were destroyed, 6 apartment buildings were damaged, as well as a shop, 2 cars, and a power line was cut. And due to the high level of danger, Ukrposhta is closing its branches in Kostiantynivka, Donetsk region, starting today. This was reported by Ihor Smilyansky on his Facebook page. The company's general director also stated that Ukrposhta was the last business in the frontline city where people could receive financial and postal services. The branches had to be closed due to the danger to the lives of employees and customers. Now, the nearest Ukrposhta branches to Kostiantynivka are located in Drushkivka and Oleksievo-Druskivka. These are 5 to 7 kilometers from the city. The Russians are increasing pressure in the north of Donetsk region in the Lyman direction. The armed forces are engaged in heavy defensive battles there. And although the occupiers' forces are superior, our defenders managed to hold them back and even in some places launch counterattacks. This was stated by Commander-in-Chief Syrskyi after he visited the Donetsk region. The hottest directions remain Pokrovsk, where there were 40 clashes in a day, as well as Dobropilya, Novopavlivka, and Lyman. In total, over the past day, the enemy attacked our troops more than 120 times. However, Ukrainian defenders are resolutely repelling the enemy's attempts to advance deeper into our territory. The Russians are using all types of weapons, including nearly 2,000 kamikaze drones, as well as missiles and artillery. And more than 70 glide bombs, KBs, were dropped. According to the analytical portal Deep State, the occupiers managed to advance in the Serebryanske forestry in the Luhansk region and near the village of Olhivske in the Zaporizhzhia region. They are not ready to send troops to the line of contact with the Russians, but they will help to secure the skies and the ports. The publication The Guardian has revealed plans regarding the deployment of British troops. This document will be presented by Chief of the General Staff Tony Radakin at today's meeting of military representatives from 36 countries who are ready to provide security guarantees to Ukraine after a ceasefire. The preliminary idea from London is as follows. They will provide their soldiers to assist with logistics and training of the Ukrainian army for the defense of the skies and the sea, but not near the line of contact with the Russian army. The United States, for its part, promises to somehow contribute to the security guarantees. And although Donald Trump has categorically ruled out sending American troops to Ukraine, he is reportedly ready to help in some way from the air. Volodymyr Zelensky expressed hope that within 10 days the guarantees will be fully worked out. However, some European leaders, according to The Guardian, doubt that Putin would agree even to a limited deployment of NATO troops to Ukraine. At the same time, as reported by Sky News, President Volodymyr Zelensky and the Russian dictator Putin may meet as early as the end of this month. According to the publication, 5 locations are being considered for the negotiations. These are Geneva, Vienna, Rome, Budapest, and Doha. A Sky News source says that Geneva is currently considered the best option, while Rome or the Vatican are not favored by Russia, and Ukraine is opposed to Budapest. The Europeans want security guarantees for Kyiv to be defined before the meeting of the country's leaders. According to officials familiar with the matter, work is currently underway on a treaty similar to NATO's, which would guarantee Ukraine's allies protection in the event of any Russian attack. This document could be finalized as early as next week. Meanwhile, the Russians are already coming up with ways to avoid a meeting between Putin and Zelensky. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stated today that they are ready for any format. However, he claimed that such negotiations need to be carefully prepared so that supposedly they do not lead to a worsening of the situation, but instead put an end to the agreements. The diplomat from the aggressor country recalled that during his last phone conversation with Trump, Putin, instead of a personal meeting, suggested raising the level of the heads of the Ukrainian and Russian delegations. Let me remind you that during several rounds of negotiations in Turkey, the Kremlin did not send a single high-ranking official, unlike Kyiv. These statements provide grounds to believe that in the near future, Putin is not interested in meeting with Zelensky. Lavrov also commented on security guarantees for Ukraine. The Russian minister believes that such discussions are meaningless without them, and he cynically added that they would support providing security guarantees to Kyiv. However, for this to happen, Kyiv must abandon its bid to join NATO, and the guarantors should be the permanent members of the UN Security Council, such as the USA, France, the United Kingdom, China, and even Russia itself. Notably, all of these countries possess nuclear weapons. And to make it harder for Putin to refuse peace negotiations, the United Kingdom and the EU are already preparing a new package of economic sanctions. According to The Telegraph, citing sources in the British government, restrictions may be imposed if the Kremlin leader refuses to take part in negotiations with Zelensky and Trump, or if he delays or evades them. According to the publication's sources, it was precisely the threat of sanctions that forced Putin to agree to a meeting with Trump in Alaska. It is expected that the 19th package of restrictions against Moscow will begin to be discussed as early as August 29th or 30. It could be adopted as soon as September. A golf club from a Ukrainian soldier. The president's office revealed what gift Volodymyr Zelensky brought to Donald Trump. The American leader is well known for his love of golf. That is why the Ukrainian team decided to give him a golf club as a gift. And not just any club, but one with a story, because it was given by Junior Sergeant of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Kostyantin Kartavtsev, who lost his leg at the front while saving his comrades. Golf became a part of the soldier's rehabilitation. Irina Markevich asked the soldier which club Kostyantin Kartavtsev chose and with what intention he gave it to Donald Trump.
You would never guess that Kostyantin has a prosthetic because his walk looks perfect from the outside. He jokes about his injury at the front.
Not a serious injury as we count among the military.
He was wounded in the Serebryansky forest in the Luhansk region. They needed to evacuate the wounded.
We unfortunately just hit a very dangerous mine while evacuating and carefully carrying out our wounded guys.
And it turned out they had to rescue him and 5 other wounded men. Kostyantin calls the comrade who carried him off the battlefield his own family.
It took no more than 10 minutes. There was no time there. If it had taken another 5 minutes, I probably wouldn't have been able to get him out.
After being wounded, Kostyantin Kartavtsev set himself the goal of returning to his native airborne assault brigade. As soon as the doctors allowed it, he immediately started training. And when the rehabilitation therapist suggested learning to play golf, he didn't hesitate for a second. With his prosthesis, Kostyantin would cover about 10 kilometers per training session on the golf course.
And it comes out to about 13,000 steps a day, which is a lot.
He won the Ukrainian military championship and together with his team took prize places at the Golf World Championship in Munich. When it became known about the president's visit to the White House, the golf club suggested sending Trump a gift in the form of a golf club. It bears Kostyantin's autograph and an engraving.
I am aware that he frequently engages in the sport of golf, and it is quite evident that the club in question is of exceptionally high quality, possessing superior craftsmanship and design, so I am inclined to believe that he might even utilize this particular club for his regular play on the course.
A passionate golf enthusiast, Donald Trump appreciated the gift and even recorded a personal message to Kostyantin.
Kostyantin, first and foremost, I was carefully watching your golf swing. I truly know a great deal about the sport of golf. and your shot execution is absolutely excellent. I have tremendous and profound respect for you and your remarkable skills. You are an extraordinary person. Every time I hit the ball, I will think of you, Kostiantin.
If Sergeant Kostiantin Kartavtsev had the opportunity to speak with Trump in person, he would tell him the most important thing.
I would very much like for Donald Trump to hear directly from the military that we, the United States military, unequivocally want a decisive victory. That is precisely when our formidable enemy will no longer be able to effectively attack us and pose a threat. That will be victory. And when we possess more advanced and formidable weapons, we will undoubtedly achieve a stronger and more advantageous position of considerable strength. From that truly advantageous and commanding position of undeniable strength, it will become significantly easier for us to engage in productive dialogue with them, specifically with our adversaries and those who stand as our enemies.
Never giving up is his life motto. After his amputation, Kostiantin returned to his native brigade and is currently serving as a member of the armed forces of Ukraine. While he was in the hospital, he proposed to his beloved.
We were in Kiev in the hospital, and he says to me, "Let's get married." I said, "Hey, listen, let's save all your jokes for later." Because it was such a day, such a really intense day. But he was like, "No, let's get married."
And he fulfilled another one of his cherished dreams. A father of 2 grown sons from his first marriage, he dreamed of having a daughter. A year ago, Nicole was born.
I really wanted a daughter, and now all my dreams have come true.
Nicole turned 1, and her birthday was celebrated together with her christening.
Rob her for good luck, dear.
Everyone is calling Kostya to ask if he personally saw Trump's address, but today he's just too busy being a dad. His middle son also has a birthday today.
I'm just so busy with the celebration today. It's my kid's birthday and christening after all.
He has only one dream left, that Nicole never knows what war is, and that Ukrainian soldiers can return home and watch their children grow up in a free country. Irina Markevich, Timofey Koshchi, TSN 1+1.
But how long will Trump remain supportive of Ukrainians? And will this change after another call or meeting with Putin? What do you think about this? Write your thoughts in the comments under this broadcast on YouTube. And of course, give us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet. In the meantime, I will continue with the TSN broadcast. A large wave of mobilization in Israel. The IDF has announced the call-up of 60,000 reservists. The soldiers are to be deployed for the complete takeover of the Gaza Strip. The special operation was approved by the Ministry of Defense and named Gideon's Chariot. The Times of Israel reports that the mobilization will take place in several stages. Soldiers will receive draft notices requiring them to report for duty on September 2nd. The next waves will occur in November, December, as well as in February, March of next year. Officially, the authorities assure that most of the conscripts are still career military personnel, while reservists are supposedly being deployed only in specific areas of the front. Alternatively, they may replace other support units outside the Palestinian region, in intelligence or in the Air Force. Currently, Israeli forces control 75% of the territory of the Gaza Strip. As part of the special operation, they aim to completely defeat Hamas and free the hostages who have been held by militants since 2023. To achieve this, they plan to relocate 1 million local residents to the south. Tens of thousands of Israelis oppose this decision, believing that this approach will not free the hostages. In fact, it will put them in even greater danger. Government critics believe that it is time to stop the fighting. A number of international leaders and organizations also oppose this, as it could lead to an even greater humanitarian crisis in the region. Austria has chosen the host city for Eurovision. Next May, the song contest will be held in the capital, Vienna. Coincidentally, this will also mark the 70th anniversary of the event. Eurovision will be held at the city's largest arena, the local stadium Wiener Stadthalle, which can accommodate up to 16,000 people at once. It is not yet known how much hosting the event will cost, but for example, this year in the Swiss city of Basel, about $40 million had to be spent on Eurovision. Let me remind you, this year the main song contest of Europe was won by Austria's representative JJ with the song Wasted Love. Before this, the country had only won in 2015 and 1967.